A new executive order from the White House looks to end federal funding of all national public radio and public TV. 5 News reporter Parker Abels walks us through how this could impact one local radio station.
The executive order means stations across the country would lose a large amount of funding, including KUAF in Fayetteville. The station gets 17% of its funding from the government.
When I heard news of last week's executive order, I wasn't surprised, but I was still stunned. Without those funds, it would be challenging to provide the same level of programming, news programming, high-quality journalism, music and cultural programming, and emergency alerts and community notices that we offer today.
However, KUAF General Manager Clint Schaff says even with the order, the station isn't going anywhere, thanks to its listeners.
We work in service to listeners, and if it's going well, listeners support us back, right? And the fact that so many people want to contribute privately to us and that taxpayer support for public media is very popular.
He says the support for public media is larger than ever before.
We're hearing, a lot of phone calls, a lot of email contributed, not enough to make up that huge cut that could come at the federal level, but people are ready to respond, and I'm really hopeful that we can find a way to thrive, even if it means doing it with less.
The station gets about $194,000 from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, but Schaff says it would actually cost more to replace those funds.
It would cost about $264,000 to replace $190,000+ because the NPR network and CPB provide for group buying power. So basically, like when you go to a Walmart and buy a lot of toilet paper at once and you get a cheaper price than if you bought it roll by roll.
Despite it all, their focus will remain the same.
Mostly what we're focused on is to continue serving our public really well. It's like unfortunately, we don't have a bunch of people sitting around with nothing to do who can respond to this challenge full time. We're delivering 72 hours of programming 6 days a week or 7 days a week.
In Fayetteville, covering news where you live, Parker Abels, 5 News.
Meanwhile, the Department of Ed resumed debt collections today on student loans in default. They estimate about 5 million borrowers are in default right now. It means payments have not been made in at least a year. Those borrowers could now face consequences like wage garnishment, tax refund seizures, and reductions to Social Security benefits. Another deadline on the horizon later this week. Starting on Wednesday, you'll need a Real ID compliant license or a passport to board a commercial flight. Now, the enhanced identification is also required to go into any federal building starting Wednesday. To get a Real ID, you'll need several more documents than you need to get a regular license, including your birth certificate and proof of residency. Now, even if you don't meet Wednesday's deadline, you'll still be able to upgrade to be Real ID compliant at any license office in Arkansas and Oklahoma. You'll just need to do it before you can board a flight or go into a federal building. Lawmakers returned to the Arkansas State Capitol today to formally adjourn the 95th General Assembly, and the debate over building a new prison near Charleston also continued. As Rebecca Brown explains, a group of Franklin County residents delivered a letter to the governor's office today, urging her to reconsider those plans.
10 years from now, we can say, I told you so, but it'll be too late then. We're trying to stop it on the front end.
Concerned voices from Franklin County are growing louder. This week, they are making another push to stop a planned multi-million-dollar prison from being built in their community.
Most of our citizens are usually for jail expansion or prison expansion. That's never been the issue for a lot of us. A lot of us, the issue is the site.
Shannon McChristian is one of many Franklin County residents opposed to the idea. She and others joined State Senator Brian King at the Capitol on Monday.
So I'm going to be asking the governor, and I've already asked the Board of Corrections to divert the $75 million back to the Calico Rock expansion for 525 beds.
The lawmaker continues to argue there's a better way to lock up those who break the law and hopes the governor will reconsider this approach.
It's going to be much more economically better for the taxpayers, be able to address the overcrowding. The second part in the letter is what I've said all along. I mean, we have 8 counties that make up contribute 2 out of 3 inmates to incarceration.
But President Pro Tem Bart Hester disagrees.
Senator King provides lots of options that aren't taken seriously in this legislature.
Senator Hester says the $75 million already allocated for the Franklin County Prison is already in motion.
Ample money to do the architecture, engineering, hopefully some dirt work plans, and really give the legislature a firm number on what this prison looks like. I think with that firm number, we'll have the appropriation to continue on.
Both sides remain firm in their positions of whether a prison should be built in Franklin County.
Well, here's what we know. We have to build a prison. We bought a huge property, and if we got to move it to one side or the other, or back or forward or central, we're going to do that.
With this site location, doesn't serve the taxpayers, it doesn't serve anybody in Arkansas, and we need to move the needle back to something more economically.
Rebecca Brown, 5 News.
A triple murder suspect was in Sequoyah County Court today. Stacy Drake is the man who was at the center of a multi-state manhunt last summer. Prosecutors say he killed Philip Emerson in Canadian County, Oklahoma, then went to Sequoyah County where he shot and killed Tara Underwood and Taylor Sharp at LaFerry's Propane. Dozens of witnesses took the stand today to talk about the case, with testimony expected to continue tomorrow. The judge will then decide if there is enough evidence for the trial to go ahead. Voters across the area heading to the polls for special elections with decisions on everything from board seats to millage increases to fire dues. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer joins us now, checking in with Washington County, where preparations underway and election officials are encouraging residents to make their voices heard. Lauren?
Yeah, early voting starts tomorrow, and in Washington County, there's a number of school board races and millage issues. And while the ballots are short, election officials say they're just as important as any major race. Washington County has more than 150,000 voters, but Jennifer Price, director of elections for the county, says they only see about a 5 to 10% voter turnout. On the ballot in the county, school board races and millage proposals in districts like Farmington, Greenland, and Prairie Grove. Some Springdale voters will weigh in on a board seat but won't see a millage change. Where you can vote depends on what school district and even what county you're in. Voters in Benton County will need to cast their ballots there, even if their children are in the Springdale School District. To avoid any confusion, Price says to check your sample ballot and polling site ahead of time by using the state's Voter View tool. Workers have been preparing for weeks, testing voting machines, training poll workers, and getting ballots ready for all precincts.
Our voting equipment has been tested and we know that it counts accurately. And then just all those final preparations that we do for whether the turnout is 90% or 5%, we're going to walk through the same exact process, making sure that we get everything ready for the voters.
Early voting begins tomorrow, and you can cast your vote at the Washington County Clerk's office, and Election Day is set for May 13th. 6 polling locations will be open in the county from 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
All right, Lauren, thanks. Now, one of the most closely watched races next Tuesday will be in Fort Smith. Voters there casting ballots on a bond issue to reallocate sales tax money to fund consent decree work. We have a full breakdown of all the changes on the proposal on our website. You can also find details on early voting sites and where polling places will be on Election Day. Tomorrow night, Fayetteville City Council is set to discuss changes to the city's parking ordinances. The city has already eliminated non-residential requirements, allowing businesses to determine their own parking needs based on demand. Well, tomorrow, the council will consider a new proposal aimed to reduce residential parking requirements. Council member Sarah Moore says she plans to raise concerns about that plan and the impact it would have on the city's long-term goals.
As we look at, in particular, the downtown master plan, knowing that making sure that we're putting housing where we already have infrastructure, where we're making investments, where we have transit in place, where we're close to employers. Ward 2 has the most small businesses in the city. And so we know we want to situate more housing so that people, can not rely on, the fact that they'd have to have an automobile.
We'll bring you, of course, any developments to come out of the meeting tomorrow night on your 5 News at 10.